Hello, my name is Mr. Fox, and I'm here to speak to you about how to create visual revision notes using thinking maps. The main point of thinking map is to try and get the kids to collect thoughts in a logical way, and also to make sure they're analysing and processing their work. If all they do is sit and look at a book, they're not necessarily doing anything with that information. It's not always a productive thing. So we want them to do more than just look at something. We want to make sure they're able to explain and develop their ideas, and we want to provide them a tool to be flexible on how they approach problems. And hopefully it allows them to think about things in different ways and use sort of visual, audio, and kinesthetic thinking methods. So I'm going to go through 8 different thinking maps, and rather than just sort of talking about the maps in general, I thought I'd try and show you in direct application to a couple of problems. Okay. So first one we're going to look at maybe a business studies or a tourism thing. We've got a company asking you to create an itinerary for a 5-day holiday. And there's a bunch of things you need to be thinking about. So one thing we can use is a circle map. Now these are for defining in context for a number of different things. I've decided to use it for a slightly different sort of thing. So I'd imagine in the middle of the circle map we've got our aim, and then sort of going out from the centre we've got objectives. What do we need to meet those objectives, and plan of action. So this could also be used just for general sort of planning out your revision, like that, not just looking at a specific problem. But for this one, we've got sort of first thing, the arrival day, what we need to know, times and all that sort of thing, and where they're going to go, the plan of action to get all that stuff. So that's one way of using this kind of map. For something which is a bit more logical, where there's a sequence of things to be done, you could use a flow map, and this could be assigned to the same problem. So we've got deciding on the dates, and the budget is the first thing you've got to plan, then looking for flights and ensuring accommodation is sorted, and so on. So the same question could be dealt with a different mind map. We're going to look at an English type question by analysing the character of Robin Hood, just to find a choice of Walt Disney to select a fox to represent it in the film. So maybe media studies rather than English, but we could use a tree map. So here used for classifying and grouping. So we've got the characteristics of Robin Hood, and then underneath each one we've got to give evidence and reasons why we think he meets these different characteristics. From more open-ended and maths-related, I'm a maths teacher, we could just have this idea, revise algebra, and we could have a bubble map. So this might be something where you start just your revision and you're thinking about where to go. So I've just written algebra in the middle, and then I've just written different words around it, sort of factorising, simplify, substitute, and you could extend this bubble map with different things coming off each bubble, explaining what each thing does and giving examples of them, and so on. We're going to look at a PE type question now. So Stephen is helping train the under-9s football team, George is helping under-9s rugby team, and we want to look at training exercises useful for football only, rugby only, and useful for both. What you could do here is a double bubble map. So this is specifically for comparing and contrasting things. So you see at either ends we've got the differences. We've got the things exclusively for rugby, exclusively for football, and then down the middle we've got the similarities. We've got the things that would work for both of them. Geography question now. We're going to look at coastal erosion. So the question says, what strategies can we use to reduce the effects of coastal erosion, and what problems might come out of that? So if we've got these sort of causes and effect thing, this multi-flow map here is specifically designed for that. So in the centre we've got our coastal erosion defences, and we've got the things we can do in order to fight that, and then some of the problems that are the result of using these particular techniques. Biology type question now, revise the heart. So we could use a brace map, which we start from a certain sort of overview and sort of break it down into its individual bits. So we've got the human heart at the start of the brace diagram, and we've broken it down into the role of the heart, problems that can occur with it, the key parts of the heart, and so on. That's a good way of sort of breaking stuff down and maybe taking some information you already know and just organising it in a diagram. Now this bridge map is specific in English for seeing analogies. So we've got an example here. We've got a remote control in the television. It's the same as the nucleus of the cell. Both of these things control. So we've got a relating factor at the start, but that's quite a technical thing. I tried to use it in maths stuff when we were looking at different speeds. So we've got this idea of 360 kilometers in an hour, which is quite quick. But we can sort of link that eventually to our, how quick it's going in kilometers per second. And with each bridge, each step there, we've just changed one thing. So we've changed the 1 hour to 60 minutes. And then we've divided both things by 60 to get it down. So it can, the sort of bridge maps can be used in succession to show a multi-step link between two things. It can also be used to just connect two different things. So we've got a student here who's connected himself or herself to the parents, and the relating thing, the thing that's common for both of them, is responsibilities. So they've got homework and chores, and we've got kids and food, shelter, bills, all that sort of stuff. The thing you need to think about is the thinking maps allow the students to organise their thoughts, and that you can use the same problem and use a range of different mind maps on it to try and sort it out. And some of them they'll prefer one particular one and they'll use it all the time, or it could be that they like using a range of different things. And specifically for exams, they could be used for the long and wordy questions that sometimes the kids struggle with. They can use these mind maps to try and help them break them down. So normally at this point I would say any questions, but that's not a thing we can do now, unfortunately. But I'm sure Mr. Knight will leave contact details if there are any questions. Thank you very much.